Hi, with Electrek, I'm Fred Lambert.
And I'm Scott Buscemi.
And today we're reviewing the Jaguar I-PACE.
To get the full effect of owning the car, we took the I-PACE on a road trip from Venice, California to the Anza Borrego State Park and back. Google Maps showed the trip distance as 169 miles each way, so we really put the 234-mile EPA estimated range to the test.
Alright, so right now we're about to leave and the car is showing 100% battery charge and 275 miles of range, with which I think is unrealistic, but we're gonna test it out.
Alright, we really didn't get that far before we ran into either some sort of bug or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a bug, but it's telling us to drive to activate the sensors. And we're driving now and it just doesn't activate the sensors at all. And since there's a ton of fog on the back window, I really need something to help me to go behind, but maybe if we click on the camera here. No.
Why don't let's drive for a little bit and maybe it'll warm up some features.
But you should at least be able to click on it and get to the settings option or something. Alright, what was that about? I really don't like that at all though. Alright, but let's do it anyway. Alright, let's do just a quick walk around the car just to look at both of the features, starting with the design of the vehicle itself. Jaguar says that it's an SUV, it's classified as an SUV, but there's definitely an argument that can be made that it's not really an SUV, especially if you come here and you look at an angle of the car. Right now it looks the most SUV that you can ever look, but it doesn't look like that normally, because if you look at the suspension, we are on high right now because we went a little bit of off-roading just a second ago, so the car is really high, and that way it almost looks like an SUV. But if we actually come here and bring the suspension back down at a level where you will mostly use it, because if you go on the highway, you city driving, you want the car lower, have better aerodynamics. And if you look at the wheels right now, the suspension, it will go down. Now is that the normal height?
Yeah, can you go even further? Nice.
Now the car is at its normal height, and as you can see, it's just not that high. It still has a lot of utilities that an SUV will have, which is nice, but the feeling when you're inside the car at the normal height is much closer to a sedan, in my own opinion, than anything else. You don't feel that this height advantage that you have over the rest of the cars on the road, which a lot of people like when they're driving SUV. But personally, it's not something that I favor, so I actually prefer the design of the car as an SUV. Though it also comes with other little disadvantages, like the room, for example. So it's closer to what you will find in a small crossover or a mid-size crossover, mid-size SUV than anything else. But you still have plenty of room, and if you go back down here, that's where you put your charge connector, your wall connector here. So at the back, you get your usual badging for the Jaguar, the I-PACE, Jaguar badging, and the actual series of the vehicle, which is the EV400, and it's an all-wheel drive. You have a dual motor on it. 150 kilowatts, 150 in the front and back, so 350 kilowatts on top. The door handles are pretty cool, similar to what you'd find in the original Model S, for example, where now they are open because the car is on lock. But when the car is actually locked, when the car is not locking for some reason, I don't know, maybe because when the car is locked, the door handles are flush with the body of the vehicle, which is great for the aerodynamic. If it's unlocked, you can just if you have the keys with you, you can just press on the button here and they will open. Then you can just open the door normally. and when you lock it back, they're flush. Also, when you start to put it in drive, they go flush, while the of course the side mirrors don't fold in when you're driving. You have the charge port right here. Of course, you have to unlock the car to use it, like that. So a normal G1772 charge port, but if you remove that, you have the CCS combo charger that appears. And now it's closed. There's some cool thing about the front of the vehicle. If you look it from further away, it looks much like a regular Jaguar grille, regular Jaguar front end. But if you get closer, you can actually that it's a fake grille, because of course you don't need that much air input with an electric motor. But it is round here, so the fake grille helps you put the air up inside here instead of having an air intake in the front, and it exits right here from the top, so that the aerodynamic performance is improved from here. And here with the hood, of course, you have
give me that frunk.
The frunk. Now the frunk in the Jaguar is nothing impressive. It's actually ridiculously small compared to most other electric SUVs like the Model X or the e-tron. I guess the e-tron is not that huge, yeah. And the keys for size. You cannot fit even like a small suitcase in there. It's basically a place for an iPad if you want to leave an iPad in there for some reason. And to close it, you have to close it manually. Make sure that it's well closed, because of course that's I think I done next to you. You have some air intakes here on the side that can help cooling the brakes, even though the brakes are not that much useful with the regenerative braking of the motor, which can be quite strong too. And in front you have also your cameras here. You have your sensors for proximity sensors all around the car here and here, and also more cameras in the front here for you have more cameras here for the windshield, for the auto steering system that you have. Well, it's more of an assist steering system, like we're gonna discuss in the video too. Also, you have the beautiful glass roof that goes from the windshield all the way to the back. That's pretty much it for the exterior, I think. So we're just talking about the acceleration of the I-PACE, which is a lot of fun, and but the downside is Jaguar has created some artificial sounds with this different speeds. That once you achieve a section speed, the acceleration comes with not an actual electric motor winding sound, but one that they created just for it, and not a big fan of that. Right now we're at 48, but if we go over 50, that's a fake sound here. Then 60, you hear that? That's not an electric motor sound. It's a exaggerated one, and I'm not a big fan of it, because I like actually the sound of electric motor winding, especially the one like in the Roadster, for example, and it tells you that you're going faster, like and that's the I think that was the idea behind Jaguar. They wanted to let the driver know that they're accelerating through sound, but I don't think you actually needed that much. I mean, it's not that bad. They could have been worse. They could have faked the
revving.
Yeah, revving of the engine, of a gas-powered engine, and that's not the case here. But it still feels fake to me. Like I would have preferred. This one is not too bad. There's another one that you get. This one, like, not a fan.
Go for it. Nice.
I feel like it might not have been as fast as it could have been because of the state of charge of the battery pack right now, which is at less than 50%. I don't know. Maybe they allow full power up to a certain percentage, but I feel like the 0 to 4.5. So we're back from the trip right now. We ended up doing adding 341 miles to the car and charging twice. About the efficiency of the car itself, we got 400.2 kilowatt hours per 100 miles over that trip, and so that's basically a consumption of 400 watt hours per mile, which is a high for an EV when you look at it, but less so for an SUV. But is it an SUV? That's a big question.
We'll
right?
never know. When we put the suspension higher, it did feel like when you're getting in and out, it did feel like a high car.
Yeah. When you add it, but that the suspension has on off-road mode. So how often you should use that?
Right.
It's
yeah.
And of course that also affects your efficiency. So like the car is very slick, like it has a good aerodynamic performance. But the higher you go, the less that is. So you want to keep it in normal mode, and in normal mode you feel like a sedan. It feels like a sedan. When we pull over at a stops and right next to you there's an SUV that comes up, even not like an Escalade or something, just like an Explorer or smaller than that, and you see right away the difference. Like you're looking up at them. It's not an SUV. It still has some good cargo size, and the interior feels spacious. You don't feel cramped in the interior.
The interior felt spacious. That's right. In terms of storage space, it was okay.
Yeah.
But nothing even beyond a sedan again.
We've seen some sedans with equivalent storage space, but in the interior you feel spacious. The glass roof, of course, helps a lot for that. So it adds up, when you consider that it's a 90 kilowatt hour battery pack, it technically adds up to 225 miles compared to the 234 miles that EPA rating suggests. And the actual range in the car is shown much higher. I'm not sure why is that exactly. Even when you get in the car, because most of the car I've driven, electric car, even if it's based on how efficient you drive, the actual max range is still closer to the EPA than what you get in the I-PACE. Nonetheless, I mean, I would just to be on the safe side, I will look at the I-PACE having closer to a 200 miles range, right?
That's what it felt like. And I think the biggest thing is that even if the range was at that level, I still felt a good amount of range anxiety because of the charger network. That was the biggest thing for me. So even if we were able to get far, the amount of chargers, especially where we were going, were quite sparse, or if they did exist, they were really, really slow chargers. Whereas if we had a really cool network of different chargers, then I would have felt a lot better about the range that we had.
Yeah, it is a bummer because you want to look where you can go, where you need to do more than 200 miles round trip, and there's not that many options to get the full charge rate of a vehicle like the I-PACE at 100 kilowatts. We had to stop at an EVgo station at 50 kilowatts. It just so happened that it was still fine for what we had planned. But if you wanted to go further, though, if you wanted to go, because it was just a 3-hour trip, going 3-hour trip coming back. So if you wanted to go even further than that, the second time you don't stop to eat, like you do another hour, an hour and a half, 2 hours. You don't want to stop for more than 20-25 minutes max.
My biggest thing was that once I started driving the car, I could feel the power of the car in terms of just being a great electric car. The motor, to me, is really powerful and felt really responsive. It made it feel like I was always in control of the car whenever I was in traffic, whenever I was anywhere on the road. The software and then the charging experience, those were the things that really hindered the whole entire experience with the I-PACE. If they were able to take the same experience with the motor and apply it to all the other parts of ownership, that would have made it so that this car felt more like worth its money. But instead, this actually felt like something where we had to cater to the car right now, and there were bugs with CarPlay, there were bugs with navigation, there were different kind of bugs that we ran into all the time that didn't really seem like things that we should have to
the
deal
cameras,
with.
The cameras for the 360 look.
Yeah, the 360 wasn't working, but then suddenly it was, and then sometimes we would not be able to switch phones on Bluetooth, but then if you turned it on and off, then it would work again. Over-the-air updates should be able to solve so many issues that we ran into today. But in terms of what they've released right now and what we're reviewing, those were kind of things that really made it so that the experience wasn't great.
The UI itself probably needs a complete revamp, really. They need to look at the thing again and fix it. It's just too buggy right now. There's just too many bugs, and it's not bugs it's bugs that completely handicap a feature of the car itself, like the navigation.
Yeah.
For half the trip, we couldn't use navigation. We wanted to use Google Maps. Like there's not that many in-car navigation system that beat Google Map or come close to it. So of course we wanted to use CarPlay and use Google Map on it, but we used it with two different phones and it would work for about 30 seconds and it would crash. So I have to assume that's on Jaguar side too if we tried it on two different phones.
So what's your full conclusion with it?
My full conclusion on the I-PACE, it's a stunning, beautiful car. We got a few compliments on it.
People would stop us in the middle of the road and be like, hey, nice car you got there.
Yeah. So beautiful car. It's absolutely stunning. I love the exterior design. I enjoy the interior design. I think it's a solid one too. I love the driving experience itself. The steering is really responsive. The accelerator is extremely responsive. It's powerful enough. It's a 300 kilowatts powertrain that feel at least that, even not stronger. Like you feel the power of the car. It's great. We did some good winding roads driving that was beautiful, and it handled perfectly. And we even got some off road and play with it, and it's a fun car to drive around. All around fun. But I think the whole user interface is such a downer that it put a bad light on the entire experience itself. That and the charging experience, like you said. Yeah. Even though it is 100 kilowatt fast charging capacity, supposedly, we are in California, a hotbed of electric vehicles, and we couldn't successfully try that charge rate.
The software just made it so that even when I was driving for a while, when I was just driving, not having to worry about the navigation, not worrying about music, not worrying about anything else like that, when I was just driving, it was a great car. But when it came to actually setting up navigation, when it came up to setting up different settings within my EV or different sections within the UI, it really just made it so that you felt like, for some reason, the core experience of interacting with the car just was so delayed and slow and buggy.
Yeah, sometimes you just click on a feature and it just decides to not open, and then you're doing something else and then the feature opens for some reason. So really not ideal, but like you said, hopefully they come out with a software update that can fix some of those issues. Until then, I would have a lot of difficulties recommending the car. I mean, it started at $70,000. The version that we tested was $86,000. That's not cheap. That's a lot of money to pay for a car with a buggy UI.
That's it for our review of the Jaguar I-PACE. Subscribe to Electrek for more EV news and reviews.